So welcome back to the layout, and I'm just trying something before I start all the ballasting. I want to get the dummy point motors in place, the trunking, lay out some of the signal box. So what I have done is I've taken the hard stand up, but I've drawn around it before so I know where to ballast to. And I'm just going to start looking at sort of placing a signal box. And I think the scale seems signal box is probably about the right size for this layout, not too big or anything like that. So I've just cut a nice square, well, not square piece card, but 91 by sort of 52 roughly. It's probably slightly bigger, but and then I'm going to be looking at, I have the Pico what are these, SL47 scale point motor dummies. So you get 6 in a box, so that will cover all the ones for the main line. And I've got some 3D printed concrete tubing from this is from stockscenes3d.com. So, and they throw in a few extra pieces and things like that, you know, that didn't quite make the grade. So, and this was actually purchased just online, and I saw, you know, and I thought that looks quite good, and you get quite a lot for your money. Whether it's enough for the layout, I don't know, or whether it's too big. I'm not sure if it's too chunky, but I'm going to measure it, get some track, and just see. And I also have some for the sort of the traction maintenance side. I wanted to use these depot point levers. So I've got 5, and I've got 5 points that I'm going to do to. So I need to just put these in place, but I'm not going to put the levers in until towards the end. So if I put the levers in now, I'll just end up breaking them off. So, but these do need painting up before I fit them. So I was thinking of having something like the signal box roughly somewhere around here. So you'll have the dummy point motors fitted on these, which is all part of the main junction, and then just the 5 ones in the depot, I'll have those. These will have point motors, so I'll need a fair bit of trunking. So I'll have to just see how far it goes and see how it looks as well. So I thought I'd just get a couple of these Pico point motors out. Well, dummy point motors are just the and the trunking a little bit higher, but that's okay. I know these are not the perfect pieces, so but it's sort of, it's about right, really. And these Pico motors all allow you to still manually select the points as well, and then I can put motors underneath as the future comes along. So I think I'm going to work out how I'm going to put all my point motors in first, and then just put a bit of PVA glue on those and get them glued in. I was just trying to look at some pictures of them in real life, and it looks like it should all go this way round. They do sort of sit on the sleepers in real life, but if you sort of sit them on the sleepers, they just seem to be very high. So I think I'm just going to put them next to the points there. I think that should work. I want to leave all the manual switches in. Okay, it's not going to look exactly sort of real life, but it's going to give it a fairly good feel, you know. And the idea is, because I'm not going to get the electric motors all fitted in straight away. So right, I've decided that's where I want them all fitted. So I'm just going to put a drop of glue on each one of these now, just a bit of PVA I think, maybe a maybe something slightly stronger, maybe that Wilco interior PVA glue. So that one won't move around once I put the ballast on then. So, and then I'm just going to start putting the manual point lever on. Right, while I'm just letting those dry, the glue dry on those, just thought I'd have a look at these. I've used these in the past, and I just sprayed them black before and then just painted in the detail. And I'm thinking this time I might do them in more of a sleeper brown or something like that. And then just do them in the grey colour on the top. I'm not going to fit the point levers, like I said, not until later on, but I'll sort of paint those. They'll be in black anyway, and with a white tip for the handle. So I'm just going to cut these out, I think, and then stick them to the board. So I should be able to then spray them from all sides. I think that might be the easiest way. So, and these are just 3D printed. So, and they're all good value for money from Westhill Wagon Works. I know 3D printing is reasonable cheap, but you've got to invest, and obviously they've invested in quite a few printers now because they're producing a lot of stuff. So I think I'm only going to be using 4 actually on this layout. So I've decided to put one extra dummy electric point motor in, so there'll be just 4 in this depot scene, and I'm going to just stick them to this little bit of a board that I've got here, so I can just, so when I spray them they don't go flying everywhere. I used to use a bit of double-sided, but I'm not sure where I've put that at the moment, so but a little bit of Pritt stick will be fine. They'll stick enough to stop them blowing around with the spray aerosol spray. So I'm going to go just outside, spray those up, and then I can let them dry and then paint some of the detail on. I was actually just looking at the these sort of point lever bases, and I was just using the magnifying glass on the helping hands, and I just don't think the quality is as good. I think the 3D printing isn't that good at the moment. So I think they're either rushing them or they need a new printer, because it's just the detail that was on them originally with all the grid patterns is just blended into a mush. So I'm not actually that happy with those. I'm going to use them, but I'm going to send Westhill Wagon Works a message to say they need to get the quality back, because I am a little bit disappointed with that. But I'm going to just try and pick the detail out, because by eye it's not too bad. So let's get those painted in a little bit of a grey. I was just going to use some acrylic paints, so I'm just going to mix a tiny little bit up. Got some white and some black. Probably make this way too dark. You need the minimalist amount of black. I thought I'd just use this lid. Probably tap it in the black and then mix it up, I think. And I think that'll be about right. I don't want it to look too dark or too light. Just enough to pick that detail out. Yeah, I think that one's fine. But I will use the magnifying. It's way too much on my brush there. I've got too big a brush as well. See what this looks like. And I think it'll look better once I put a bit of weathering on there, so I'm going to just, so it looks a bit odd. I probably did need to paint this middle piece, so I'm just going to leave that on the other ones. I always just spray it black, or even use one of the ones I haven't used yet. Now that looks better than that one, I think. Or 50-50. Yeah, I think that's okay. I don't know whether that one's right or not. I might try and find a few pictures of some depot point levers and just double check. So the plan was to actually have these fitted. And I put one this side, and they fit really nice in between the sort of switch. So, one there, I think, like that. Got one this side, and then one just over there. So just put a bit of PVA glue on those. Still waiting for the PVA glue to dry on the other point ones, and then I'll sort of plan on how I'm putting the trunking in. So it's like there'll be, not sure I'm going to have enough trunking. I might need to order some more. Just really starting to get some of this trunking in sort of places that I think it should go. But then I was just looking at the sheets, and we only have 3 of these T-sections. Could have done with a lot more of those. So 3 is not really going to do what I need, because I'm going to need to put like at least one there, so it can the cables can come through via the rails. Might have to move that down a bit. So say we had that. Because I'm going to need something like that. Okay, so that's not worked perfectly there. And definitely need one over there. So I'm going to need to sort of slot them in with the trunking like that. And then maybe that. So I might actually have to just have a quick look online and just see if I can get some more of this. I was expecting, we've got enough long pieces, but these short, these T pieces, so maybe they supply them on their own. I'll have to have a look. we do have smaller pieces for there as well, for going around a corner. And then I can put a straight on to the, I know they typically wouldn't go straight to a point motor like that, but because they always have the wires coming out, but yeah, that'll be okay. I think that looks alright to me. So I'm going to have something like that. Obviously I've got a bit more, a few more pieces, but I was just thinking about putting the wires on the top of the ballast, because if I put them on now, I'll put the ballast on, it'll just hide them anyway. So, but I will need to put in a little bit of wire in between the tracks there. So I'm just going to use a piece of this yellow, I can't remember what gauge that was now, but that should fit under the track nicely and join those two trunking pieces together. So I'm going to get these stuck down. Still not sure if they're too high. I think I'll be telling once I put the ballast in, because the ballast is only going to come up to the sleeper height, and they are way above sleeper height. So do I sand the piece off? I'll have to sort of see, because I don't want to start ballasting it and then it starts to look rubbish, because they are too high. So I'm not sure how well this will come out, but what I've tried, because these are resin printed, so they actually cut really easy and break easy. But you can see how thick that is, and I've chopped this in half. Didn't manage to rescue the other half, it just shattered into lots of pieces, but then I just put it a little bit of sandpaper. I did break, it was only a small section, but I think that might be the way that it should go. Obviously if I put all my track on cork, like say 2mm cork, this would probably be fine, but I've laid all my track onto the board because I don't want that shoulder. You don't see that shoulder all the time. Have a look at real railways, sometimes you'll see a shoulder, sometimes you won't, and especially in a traction maintenance depot or something like this sort of style of layout, there's not a shoulder. If it was steam, then there'd be a lot more of a shoulder on the layout. So I'm going to have a go at cutting all these in half. Wish me luck, because I think I'm going to just shatter them all to pieces, but I think I've got enough in bits. So if I do break any and things like that, hopefully I've got enough in all the pieces. But you can see what happened when I cut the other one apart like this. It just fell into lots of pieces, so you can only use one half of it. And doing those little T-junction pieces could be fun. So I'm going to just carry on cutting all these up and getting them to the right size. Right, what I have been doing is I've cut all these down, so removed just like a piece off all the undersides, just to reduce them down in height a little bit. I did break one or two pieces, and I cut all the junctions in half, so I'm hoping, all the T-pieces, I should say, T-piece junctions, so I'm hoping that it'll not look too bad, and I can get them to align. But you know, I'm going to have to do a little bit of propping them up, maybe with a tiny little bit of card underneath or something like that. Maybe I should have measured all the height. I mean, they were perfect for, depending on how you're doing your layout. How I'm doing mine, now they're a bit more perfect. So I'm going to get these now on the layout, just see where we go. Right, I roughly have them how I want them. And I don't want them all perfectly straight or anything like that, because they never are in real life. They'll all have a bit of weeds growing around them, things like that. So I think that trunking is okay. I'm going to use, like I said, the yellow I've bought. I've hit a problem, is because all the track is fully glued down and I didn't anticipate it. I can't, so I'm going to have to come up with a different solution of how to put sort of connecting wires to the trunking. I'm going to just glue these all down now with a bit of PVA and leave it to dry. Right, all this glue is dried. It's not the prettiest piece of trunking that I've put down. It's all over the place. It looked straighter when I was putting it down, but now not so straight. But I think, oh, there's a few pieces I've forgotten to glue. But I think once it's weathered in and ballasted, it should look quite good. And for just joining the trunk in just up together, the wiring from one side to the other, I'm just using some wire, but because I can't push this through, I've had to cut a small piece here, small piece in the middle, and hopefully it doesn't look like it's a big join. And hopefully once it's been ballasted, it will hide some of that, because it doesn't look that good, but I think it'll be okay. So what I thought I would do is just mix a little bit of grey paint up again, but water it down this time and just see how it goes on, just to give it a sort of a, take the shine of the plastic off, and before I put any weathering on the top, so concrete look. Oops. Yeah, I think that will work. Take all the shine off and everything like that. So I'm going to go around the rest of this and get it all painted. Right, I forgot about relay boxes, and obviously I've just got these left over from previous purchases. So I've got these black ones I need to paint. Ones that I've broken a little bit of a door on. Didn't really want the doors open on a wall, so there wasn't supposed. I think I didn't use these because they did have the doors open at the time, but I painted these ones up. I don't mind one door open, and perhaps I can have it something, you know, have to see how they look. So I'm going to sort of just place a few of these around. I've only got that many, so I haven't got a huge amount, so I think it looks quite good if you got something and then with an engineer in front of it, because then this would sort of be a grass piece here and maybe a small road, service road going along the front. I think that would look quite good. One of the things I want to start looking at is getting this layout ballasted very soon. So the idea is to get all the everything fitted before the ballast, but I think I can start really making a start on this section here. And to do this, I'm going to ballast each board separately, and then I'm going to put a piece of tape across the front. So I want, because what I've found in the past is the ballast joins up on the board. As soon as you take the boards apart, you lose that piece in the middle, and then you see this line going down the layout again. So I'm going to try a different approach this time. So I'm going to just that's going to be very difficult because I've fitted the rest of the viaduct in there to actually do that. So I'm going to actually separate the board and then put some tape down there. And I'm just going to use some duct tape. So I should. I don't need to go all the way actually, because I'm not actually ballasting it right up the top end there. I'm just hoping that this idea works and gives me a better edge. So I will need to ballast quite a bit underneath the viaduct bridge there, just to give it a realistic. So it's going to come all the way along and just around here, and then I've just got that one piece of track really just here that I'm going to need to ballast. I'm not going to put the buffer stops on until after. I found that I can put them on before or after, but putting them on before, I just found it just makes it too difficult when you go in to try and smooth all the ballast out. So I'm going to put them on after this time. See how that works. Well, one thing I need to do is make sure I've got enough ballast. I've got this Gauge Master one, which I've got some more on order. I think I've ordered the right one. So I ordered the Gauge Master a bit. I think they're both the same. I've got a bit of a mix in there that I don't know whether I want to use. A lot of that is from this Hornby one, which I wasn't too keen. I think that one's got a mix of both in there, but it's got quite a few shiny pieces in, and even when I weathered it, you still spotted them, you know. So I think I'll just leave that one to one side, and I'm just going to use. Okay, so how am I going to get this out of the bag nice and neat? I'm going to try a different method. I'm going to put a bit on this piece of paper actually. At the moment, I'll just see if I can. Normally I just use a spoon out of the little container, but I'll just definitely need a lot more up there. So I think I will just decide to open the bag right up so I can get a lot more on there. Oop. I say a lot more on there, I mean too much. I'm just going to get a bit on this piece at the moment. I just want to see how it sort of fits up to the tape. And is it just going to stick to the tape? Pull it off? I don't know. So I do find different techniques works. So I use the brush as well. Brush it a bit hard actually. Maybe that one, how that one looks, feels a lot softer. So this takes a long time to get it neat, so I'm not going to record every single bit of me doing this, so but you can see I just want to rub it off the sleepers with my finger. I tend to find that works quite well, and also I can sort of level it off, put my finger on the track and then pull it across. Obviously I've got quite a bit here, and I've marked to where the hard standing is going to be, so I know definitely need to brush it away from that. And what I can do is I can add a little bit more ballast where the hot, near the hard standing, and just use a bit of PVA to stick that rather than the PVA in water. Right, I'm going to carry on getting the rest of this done. I need to do all of sort of around there. I want to put some ballast in here, but with the grass textures and things like that as well, weeds growing through. So let me carry on and we'll come back. I don't think that's too bad. It's sort of gone on okay. Not on top of any of the sleepers. I've still got a little bit by the rails. That will need to come out before I start running on anything. It's really tricky to get it absolutely perfect how you want it first time anyway. So, but I think I've got it roughly how I want this. Obviously there's still a little bit that I need to put in, and especially underneath the viaduct bridge I can't sort of reach anymore, so I'm going to do that in two sections. I'm going to get this main section done, and then I can go around the back of the board and do that piece anyway at a later date. So I thought I'd just see how this first board went before I do the rest of the layout, see if I can get this join to be good. I'm not totally convinced on if that tape's going to be right for it, but I've got some washing up liquid and water there that I'll spray on all the ballast. I just want to make sure that I do have it as level as I can and off all the sleepers, so it just looks like the sleepers are sitting on it, and that doesn't look too bad to me. So I'm thinking of getting this one piece sort of finished, just glued down. Won't take too long because it's quite warm at the moment, so I don't think it will take too long before I can sort of see how the gap goes and whether that's the right method for the rest of the layout. But I've still got like the relay boxes to put in on that part of the layout, so I'm going to give this a spray with give it a good old soak. This is why I didn't want the hard stand in there, because I knew I'd get it wet. So I thought I'd put that in, get it all cut so I could measure everything, and then put it all in at the end. And I think that's wet enough, and with the washing up liquid should stop any of the PVA glue sort of making the ballast plump. So I've got a 50-50 mix. I'm just going to see how this comes out. I'll just use just a standard PVA glue, dries clear, and I've also put a couple of drops of washing up liquid in this time because somebody was saying that works quite well, helps the clumping as well. So I thought I'd try that this time. I'll just do on this piece here first. Nice sort of gentle. That's not clumping at all, so that's quite good. And it should flow all nicely underneath. It's a little bit tricky doing it with the left hand. Obviously I will get in the way of the camera otherwise. So I'm going to spend a bit of time just making sure I've got everything covered with this mix. And we'll come back. Well, I think that's gone on alright. Everything's all wet with the PVA glue. So I'm going to just leave this to dry before I start working on the rest of the layout. I've got a few more things to work on while that's drying anyway, so I'll just make sure that this section's all good before I carry on with the rest. Well, that seems to have gone on alright and dried well. A couple of little patches that I can put a little bit more into. And how did it work on the edge there? Well, I think that was okay. Yet to see once I lay both the layouts together, but I'm going to do the same edge on this side as well. There is a lot of ballasting to do on this part of the board, so it's going to take some time. I'm just going to put them back together just for the moment. Just makes it easier to butt up against. Okay, with this trunking, it's didn't look very good with the grey paint. I've actually just put a very watered down piece of magnolia paint over the top. Now, try and get it to look a little bit more concrete, because concrete is that sort of colour. And then I want to do a few dirty washes over the top, so I think I'll try and do the black again to try and pick out the actual concrete pieces in there before I start ballasting. Well, that seems to have actually worked reasonably well. I've just, although you can't see the detail too much, but I think once the paint dries and thins, but what I've used is just a bit of this ammo paint. This is earth colour, I think, and just rubbed it over with my finger, try and just dirty it up a little bit, and it seems to be giving it a bit of a concrete feel. So I'm going to go over the rest. What's the worst that can happen? I have to rip it all up and start again, but I don't really want to do that. I tried going over with the black and it just made it worse. So I'm not really sure. But it seems to be so I'm just going on the rest sort of thing. It's seems to be okay. Sorry, I've got camera in the complete wrong position there. I don't want to put too much on, but it's actually taking some of it off. So I think once it dries, it will start to look a little bit more dirty looking. I could have put it on with a brush, I suppose. I should have done really, but it seemed to work quite well when I just put it on with my finger. Yeah, I put too much on there. Perhaps I should have watered it down a little bit more, but I'm going to leave that to dry before I try any of the ballasting anyway. I've just put a little bit of ballast just around this trunking and everything, and I don't think I've done a very good job with this painting. The trunking looks terrible. Now I'm going to have to really look at something else. I can't ballast this side of the layout until I've sorted the trunking out. So at the moment I can only finish just the ballasting at this end, just there. So I think I'm going to have to do a bit of a part 2 to this video, and hopefully get it out in the middle of the week when I've got some more trunking. Sorry about not being able to finish it, because I wanted to get all the layout ballasted, and I don't want to ballast something that I'm not happy with, you know, unless I can get this all up and repainted and stuck back down, but I don't think it's going to look fantastic. So it's just a little bit of a short update really, but at least you could see that I've made some progress on the ballast, and it actually looks quite good. None of it's really on the sleepers or anything like that, and it's obviously once I put the hard standing back in, there's a little bit in next to where the hard standing is that I'm going to need to just fill in, but I'm happy with that section. I just need to get happy with this trunking and things like that, so I put these little relay boxes in and some cabling and that, but it's just the colour just does not look right. So I can either paint it in a grey colour. I've taken the paint back off these, so I was thinking, do I just leave it as unpainted, you know, scrape all the paint back off, but even it's not coming off that as well as I was expecting it to. I've just put too much paint on, I think. So I'm just going to have a look and see what other people have got out there. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this part 1 of ballasting. Part 2 of the ballasting will come shortly, and I'll try and get that video out sooner than later. So, but anyway, hope you've enjoyed so far, and have a good evening, good rest of the day, and I'll see you on part 2 of the ballasting.